Hello, everyone. This is a beautiful Tuesday around 2 o'clock ish. um, we are here with Matt. Um, he says hi to all.
Hello.
So, uh, what's your name?
So my full name is John Matthew Fendick, but I usually have everyone call me Matthew or Matt, whichever one they prefer.
It's easy.
Yeah, it's very easy. If you just want to stick to Matt, that's perfectly fine. I don't care either which.
Yes, and the most important thing, where were you born?
Born right here, Elk Grove. Uh, I was diagnosed with autism in the middle of kindergarten. I think I was like 5.5 when that happened. And, a part of autism for me is kind of just like, sorry, I'm a bit shaky. It kind of just like pushes back, like my mind just pushes back of like through challenges that I struggle with in my life, through bullying. And, it kind of also gets in the way of my appearance of like who I am as a person. And sometimes autism can do that for some people, especially on the spectrum when they meet new faces. And I was also like one of those shy kids who sits by himself at lunch because um, I never know anybody, and I never even knew like how to even make friends at the start. And my communication skills, might have been um, like a little bit. I'm trying to like say like like in this position where I want to like express to people that even though I may be autistic, I'm not necessarily that different from other people. Like depending on who I talk to, especially at another person who has like maybe had another disability. Maybe they might see me. Maybe in a way, communication wise, I feel like I can make a lot more friends. Just by just acting naturally and trying to forget what I was so nervous about, and just continue to push on from there, and accomplishing goals and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome because there's everybody who's either on the severe part, which struggle a lot more than, let's say, us, who's either the moderate or the high functioning part of the spectrum. Because there's a whole wide range of mysterious challenges out there, you know?
Pretty challenging, yeah, for most of us.
It is. And the one thing that we have, the majority of neurotypical people don't, is we aren't bitter, and we're always happy unconditionally, and that makes a whole difference.
Yeah, making a whole difference. That's just that's just like maybe the special part about having autism. You're just trying to spread like positivity around and trying to make others comfortable, and making sure that they feel more like safe and secure, so that way they're surrounded by the ones that they truly support and care about. And that's mainly a part about growing up being on the spectrum. It doesn't matter like what age you're diagnosed with.
Yes, that is very, very true on so many levels. And how do you cope with your disability from the time you wake up and by the time you go to bed?
I cope with my disability through different ways of, trying to be more self-advocate for myself, and trying to be more, like I said earlier, like being more natural with other people when I talk to, and, just, I guess it just usually depends on, the proper, like having the avoidance of like speech impediment, and like which some people may have, like when they can't get the words out. And sometimes it's pretty hard for people because you know it's almost like you have a thought bubble in your head, and like not necessarily the words are coming out right now, but it just feels like you're just channeling through the process in your mind of like what you think you're going to say, but you don't actually say it like right in front of the person you're currently speaking with. And that's just how I cope with that disability. You know, like I always think before what I say, so that way I don't have to, you know, blur out the wrong word choice, like depending on, you know, like who I'm speaking to at the moment, like right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, so like we talked about earlier, that how you handle like people picking on you and other stuff like that. But what other ways do you handle those situations?
You know, for me, I handle the situation of through bullying and like other things I go through, like depression and a little bit of anxiety, I guess. I usually take the time for myself to, you know, like take these like deep breaths and listen to like some meditation background music and noises, and also listening to music by my favorite artists such as Kelly Clarkson, because Kelly Clarkson is like usually the role model, basically the person I look up to, because the way that she brings her music into onto the stage, like she brings out the whole stage presence in front of this in front of a whole room of fans, that she wants to inspire people to be stronger and to feel like I said, even feel even more safe and secure. And you know, that's just how I personally feel about her. You know, she always puts me in a meditation way that I just want to feel, you know, like relaxed in this position where I just, you know, I feel like she helps me get through through some rough times in my life. And I remember that the roughest time in my life was over a month ago when I actually got into a car accident, and it was the scariest thing I ever witnessed or like ever been involved in this case, because I remember that it was raining also on that day when that happened, and you know we couldn't stop sliding. The car was still sliding on the road. It was all wet on the rainy day, and then we suddenly just, you know, crashed into this big truck, and then we all coughed. We all had to go outside or step outside, and I couldn't stop crying because you know, I never got into a car accident whatsoever until that day that happened. But you know, after like an hour or two, heading back inside, I was keep like listening to Kelly Clarkson's music in my thoughts. You know, just because, you know, she, you know, like I said, is my role model, and I want her to make me feel, you know, more safe and to feel more blessed. That I would also have the loved ones around, you know, just to help me calm down, and basically to try to not overreact so strongly, especially because I'm on the spectrum, and it's not really that easy to basically, you know, um, to react strongly towards major crises like that accident that I was involved in. And you know, it can be hard. It can be hard for people to, you know, not to react that way, um, especially at a time like that. So that's just how I personally. That's just mainly the things that I do to help me like more stay motivated and more relaxed. You know, tone down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had quite the rain season. We never had that much rain at one time. Yes, and how were you introduced at ability to learn?
So there was this lady named Alta that she was the person I believe who introduced me to that program, and I never knew anything about it. And then I was sort of like interested in that, and so you know I wanted to learn like how to like learn to be in the like learn how to be in the safe self independency of, you know, like eventually when I live on my own, and like how to have the right amount of money to buy food and water, and like pay for electricity and water bills, and um, you know, and other like social events that they have, you know, in the program. You know, just also another way of, you know, bringing that communication environment to all the other clients who need every now and then. You know, just to have a bit more interaction with those kind of people, especially with your ILS instructor, um, you know, like Dan Lano.
Oh yes, yeah,
Yeah,
he's really good, you know.
yeah, he's really good. He is.
Yes. And the most important question is that how did you get connected? Obviously, you mentioned your auto worker. Um, how did your worker hear about it, or how did your worker got you involved? Did you mention something to you, or
So you're saying like how I got into the program, or like
yes, how you got into the program?
uh I think it's something that it's kind of hard to explain though. I mean, I almost don't remember like how I got into this, but it's just something that like one of those things that interests me most in that case. And I think it's um, also how I recently got into social cues, and the reason that I got into the workshop is that Henry Deem, who was one of my previous instructors in 2020, we used to do these Zoom sessions, and he introduced me to a topic called social cues, and I never knew that there was an actual term for that for communication wise. So for only a short few months, we've been going over it, and then in 2021, that's when he first started asking me if I wanted to host it, and then that's when I said sure, why not, and then at first, I was excited, but then I was also very nervous. I always get like this, excited and nervous type of feeling, whenever there's something that I was always looking forward to doing every now and then. But I'm always going to feel even more nervous because I'm a bit shaky, and I'm also, thinking about like mostly like how bad it's going to turn out. But then once you actually get into it, it's not as bad as you think. So I've been doing social cues for over 2 years now, and I learned a lot more about communication skills. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better at it for like every year that I grow up. So it's pretty amazing that that I get to do for the program. To be able to host it and to be able to inspire other clients and even ILS instructors to going out into the open and see what social cue experience that they might have picked up. Just to have a little bit of show and tell.
That's awesome. So we're going to take a 5 minute break, and we will get back to you around 5 minutes. Welcome back to our part two of the series. Um, Here's Matt,
Hello again.
and it's good to be back with you. So,
Good to be back.
and what are your favorite? What are some of your hobbies?
My hobbies is spent, obviously bowling, and also I do enjoy some mini golf and a little bit of swimming in the summertime, and um, pretty soon I will get back into doing like some voluntary work as well.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, and volunteers are always better. In some cases they're really better.
Yeah, volunteer work can be a very special thing, just since you're helping a lot of people out, because I volunteer at a food bank where I help people, especially with their food insecurities and making sure that they have all the supplies they need, for their new homes or apartments. And I even had to help some people, like homeless people who only go on their bikes. So um, I can almost never imagine, what that would be like growing up without an actual home, and you have nothing but, like a pitch tent or a bike to go around. It's really hard for those kind of people, just um, to not have all of this, like, without a shelter.
Yeah, and shelters have come a long way in the last 100 years. You know,
Yeah, 100 years. That does come a long way.
and since you mentioned um, a workshop,
Social cues workshop.
social cues workshop. So, how did you get into this?
So how I basically got into it, I, you know, it's something that, always feel like it's so that I could inspire people to come out of their shell and, you know, my bud Henry Dean, um, I think I might have mentioned this earlier, of like how I got into it, um, I could go over like how our social cues workshop works. For those that don't know like have no experience of communication skills um, or like how it works. So basically, what we do is that so my instructor Dan, he basically greets everybody and gives everyone 10 minutes to log in because we do it on every Monday afternoon at 3, and then at 10 after. Um, we go around and greet everybody, introduce themselves, and say what social cue they might have picked up from the recent weekend or week, or maybe something they see on a TV show or a movie. And then that's when I come into play, and then I leave for the second half of the social cues workshop group, just to go over the lesson plan for the current week, and just do that for the whole hour, and that's pretty much how it works. That's how we do it every Monday.
Simple, basic, and straight to the point.
Yeah, I guess you can say that's mostly how it does it.
uh, when did you know that you had issues with social cues or social skills?
I found out a long time ago when I didn't know anything about communication or social skills, rather, is that how to basically talk to people. It just basically like depends on like how you start up the day and like how you approach to somebody, how to start a conversation, how to end a conversation, avoiding yes or no questions, and trying to have a normal talk and avoid small talks to not create any sudden silences with between yourself and one another, and also like avoiding that in habit of you know like that ping pong event, like where people are saying like this person is wrong on something, and then the other person might say something that um, that might come into arguments that that we hope that it never happens. So pretty much those experiences in my life, you know, that's what my life of bullying got into, especially because some people who are like some people who don't have a good enough heart, they just don't like get that autistic people can be special, and you know even though that most of us when we're young, like when we get super shy, and when we and like how we approach the people, like even like how we walk, like that body language kind of thing, it's mainly all about just finding the right people to um, have someone that's very easy to talk to and can like really relate to like all the struggles of communication of skills, that can make an impact in your life, and pretty much how much you can learn from these people. So that's how I feel, hosting the social cues workshop group sessions. Like I see people's different perspectives of their life of social skills or social cues, and in my head I'm thinking, oh, okay, I never even think of that. That's actually pretty inspiring. And then that's what's cool about hosting. It's not merely about teaching, but you're also, picking up the person's perspectives and like how you're able to pick up that information, and how they present their life stories of their life growing up and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty amazing.
It is. It is pretty amazing on so many levels because many neurotypical people, they don't want to know our perspectives in lives because everything is basically basic with us. It's not this complicated web that people make it out to be. But what we know is just basic, and we're open sourced. It's not on a fixed system, let's say Windows 10. But we're basically like a Linux or like an Apple product where it's just open, open source, meaning that we get to see things endlessly, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, just to be able to reference of like what life would be like, you know, social cues wise and communication, where like it can make people feel like they're off like like a peaceful bird, and at night they're chilling like they're like you hear chirping crickets, like that kind of story, or that kind of feeling rather. Um, that's just personally how I feel. Like every day, growing up being autistic. That's just it's just the way life is, man.
It is. And how long did it take for you to work out all the bugs to get it where it is today?
I think how long it took me was it did take a while. So I do think pretty hard and pretty long and hard, to find the best way of like how I'm able to be more open and to be more um, be more negotiative to people. Uh, the way that I spread my social cues, and um, it could definitely be a struggle for some of us, or maybe most of us on the spectrum, to figure all that stuff out. But I feel like if we could take the time for ourselves, to trust ourselves, and um, to trust other people, if they can relate to the stuff that you go through, pretty much every now and then you're going to get a lot more support and help from a lot of your friends and family members as well, that that are always going to have your back 24/7.
That is really good. And we're going to take another 5 minute break, and we'll just continue on from there. Uh, that sounds good. But the first person that got diagnosed with autism was back in 1933, and
Mind blown.
mind blowing